Hi everyone. Ready for a new project? Well, I know I am. A few days ago, I watched Marsha over at Markets of Sunshine, my collaboration partner, and she was making these collage pages of her scrap pieces of paper in an old book and just keeping them and then taking them out when she wanted to do something with them. And it was a great way to store those pieces without losing them and being able to make something useful out of them later. And we all love master boards and collage boards. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try that. I hadn't done that before. So I got out an old cookbook that I had, and it pretty good size paperback cookbook. In fact, I think the page is actually 8.5 by 11, which is printer paper size. And so the very first page that I made collaged was this one right here. And I was too excited just to leave it in the book. I thought, okay, I want to do something with this. And so what am I going to do? I used a glue stick to collage down the pieces. And but then what I did, because you know me, I can't do anything without a sewing machine or stitching something. So what I did was I went and did a what is called a wave stitch. You can see that. I put it on the biggest stitch length and width that I had, and just created this kind of a quilting pattern going diagonal in one direction and then coming back and going diagonal in the other. And doing that, I love stitching things because I just feel that the permanence of it is what I like so much, because I'm just not I don't have a whole lot of faith in glue all the way around to last for as long as I want the elements to last and to hold up to use. And so I did that, and so you can see the stitching pattern on the page here. And so it catches most all the elements. You might have a little edge or something that isn't caught, but that's okay because it's sewn through somewhere else. It's not coming off this page. So I thought that was a great beginning, and now I think what I'm going to do, I was like, what could I do with this? This page is big enough that I think I could get 2 large cards and one booklet cover out of this one piece. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I love the large cards to tuck into the junk journals. They make a really nice statement. And of course, I love the little booklets that you can put into pockets and add to a journal on its own, like a journal in a journal. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this. So I'm going to do work on this, and I'll come back and show you what I've done. Well, I'm back, and I hope you'll like what I've created out of the collage page that I made in that old cookbook. And I like this project so well that I'm going to continue to do this because it's a wonderful way to not lose all those bits and pieces of paper that you can turn into something very useful and beautiful. As I said, I really believe that I could get 2 large journaling cards and a booklet out of this one page, and I did, and I was really pleased with that. This first card was, I just sewed it on a plain piece of paper on the back so that I would have journaling space on the back of the card. And then for a further embellishment, I had a piece of trim, bohemian trim left that I make. And I thought I'd just put that on there and just use that like a little belly band, pass through, tuck, whatever you wanted to make out of it. And as you notice, it didn't go to the top. Now, I worried about that a while, and then I thought, well, why should I worry about that? There are no junk journal police around here. Nobody can throw me in jail if I don't put it from top to bottom. So I just used it, and I thought, well, it goes with the project because the project is all about collaging our scrap pieces of paper into master boards and collage pages so that we can cut them up and use them. So why can't I just use bits and pieces of my fabric trim too? So that's what I did. And I really like that idea. I can put something large in here or just something small, whatever. And it's tight and it's gonna hold. So again, that was 1/3 of that page actually that I used that on. And I don't think I told you this earlier, but this map part here that I really love, it's a focal point actually of that page. That was on the page in the book originally, the map. And I simply collaged around it to save that element. So when you're collaging on a book pages, if you're using a book like I am, which is a cookbook, if there's something on the page that you can already incorporate into your collage, you don't have to cover it up. You can use it and make it part of your page, and nobody will know the difference. It just blends in with everything else. So utilize those pictures and graphs and other things that are already on there. Okay, that was one card. Now the second card was the other part of that map, if you remember, at the bottom. And actually, I think it was this way on the bottom of the page. This one, I simply made a little fabric cluster, again, out of bits and pieces of fabric. Now, I sewed that fabric cluster to a little piece of cardstock, and so that when I glued it on, I would have a paper backing to make a good glue surface to the paper card. And then it's just big enough to tuck a couple little things in. So it's just a little element. But again, on the back, I sewed another piece of paper that I could actually journal on. So these two journaling cards are 4 by 6 inches, so that's pretty good size journaling card. I sewed around it with a zigzag stitch, and as you can tell, I did ink these all around the edges, and so that kind of gave it a vintage look and finished it off. And the inking also helps to detract from the sewing. Even though I like the look of sewing, some people don't want it to be a focal point, so inking over it helps a lot to tone it down if that is something that bothers you. Okay, so that's our cards. Now here's the booklet. Get these out of the way. Now this was the top of the sheet. The cards were cut out of the bottom, and this was the top of the sheet. Okay, as you can tell that these, the whole sheet went like this. And so I cut the two off the bottom, and then what was left at the top is what I use for the booklet. Now I like little booklets that just are very unstructured in inside. I like them to be just torn pages that are graduated. I'll ink a few. I'll use some decorative papers, blanks, whatever. It's really designed to write in, so I don't do a whole lot in there. Now, I covered the outside with the spine area with a piece of fabric, and I sewed that to that piece to strengthen that. Okay. And then what I did was I took a piece of cardstock, a little heavier, you can see it right here. And I actually just stapled my pages to this piece of cardstock. And then I put that down on the inside and sewed the two edges, one there and one there, which sewed into the fabric, so it really does, you really don't see that stitching on the outside. And but that way I didn't have to do a pamphlet stitch. I didn't have to have any threads or anything on the outside. It's just kind of a hidden binding there that way. But then that little bit of lip just gives me a little tuck spot on both sides where I can tuck something in there and it stays really well. And I didn't bother on decorating the inside because I like the stitching to show. So that made just a cute little booklet. Now you could embellish it more, certainly, and you could do any of that. I did a little inking around it, and then made just a little tie out of some fabric I had that coordinated well with the colors. And so together, these three elements make a really nice set for a particular journal with the same color tone or themes. Really nice. And it all came out of just that one piece of collaged paper. So I'm really so happy that I watched Marsha's video over on over on Markets of Sunshine, and so that I got this inspiration to do this. I'm going to be making more of these pages, and as I make them, I'm going to do different embellishments and ephemera for my junk journals out of each page, and I'll be showing you those along, so to give you some more ideas and inspiration. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you can start one of these collage books of your own. Whatever size you want to use is good. Marsha used standard paperback size. I used a larger paperback recipe book that gave me a printer paper size of paper. I really like that because I can get more items off of it once I'm done with it. But you can choose whatever book size you want to work with. If you don't have one, well, look in your local thrift shops or your Goodwills or charity shops, whatever, garage sales, even discounted cheap books at the bookstore when they're getting rid of a lot of things. You can find so many books that you could do this with, so you don't have to spend a lot of money. Okay, well, I hope you were inspired with that project and that you'll continue to be creative yourself and find ways to make your hobby of junk journaling interesting every day, where you learn something or try something new all the time. And again, Marsha and I are collaborating on this series, so we're going to be linking to each other's videos in our descriptions. So make sure that you visit her channel and see what she's coming up with. And we'll be doing this throughout the rest of the year. So by the end of the year, you're going to have tons of tips and projects that to inspire you to have more fun with your junk journaling. Be sure to subscribe if you can, and we'd just love to have you. All right, that's all for today. Thank you so much for being with me, and you have a great creative day. Bye-bye.